How many of you know a deaf person or have seen a deaf person in public? Okay, so most of us. And usually when we see deaf people, they're usually like either by themselves or, just chilling, maybe with a friend, but they're usually by themselves. So before I begin, before I started this project, I was not really aware of the deaf community and that even a community existed. So deaf people, like, they're more than what we believe they are, because they actually like to, really like keep away from us people that, can hear. They really like to stay with their own kind of people, like other deaf people, people who can sign. They actually have communities, a lot of them in Orange County. That's just a little bit of the background. So, my thesis, being born into deaf isn't something easy. It's a life changer that awaits challenge, though amongst the subculture of deaf lies hope. So what I mean by this is, within their community, they bring hope to each other, they motivate each other. It's nothing but positive vibes, love for each other, and they see each other as, more than just like people. They see themselves as family because they're all going through the same struggle of not being able to hear their significant loved ones or not being able to fully communicate with everyone. So, a little bit of a preview. Today I shall be talking and discussing about the subcultures that exist amongst deaf people, their language, their history, and their community, and inspiring ways. So these are just some pictures of their language, their hand language. That's a deaf community poster that I found online, and that's a book of the history of signing and sign language and deaf people. So, sign language. ASL was invented in the year 1874. It was actually a school in America. I believe it was somewhere like in the East Coast of America, somewhere in the Middle East. It was originally just a school for deaf children. Little were people aware that deaf not only came with deaf children, it also came with adults. So first it was a school for deaf children. Normally on a person, like if you or me were to want to like learn how to sign ASL, American Sign Language, it would take 2 to 3 years to at least attain intermediate skills. And that would just be like me being able to say hello, keep a short conversation, not really being able to like fully explain myself in like the American language. It would just be like small stuff like please, thank you, how's your day going, stuff like that. The deaf community. So culture begins at group meetings, communications, and collaborations begin. These groups help cope those who are deaf, and they also allow free consultations. So by free consultations, I mean like they'll take you in, they'll see like how deaf you are, because apparently it's a certain level of deaf. Some people can be like very little deaf, or some people can be full on deaf to the point where they don't hear anything. So they'll do that, they'll give you a full like analysis, they'll tell you like how deaf you are, if you need a hearing aid, or if you need to like full on learn the language. They also offer counseling, group meetings, and from what I read on my research, it's all just love and positive vibes. They offer nothing but, help and support, and they meet on, I believe, 3 or 4 times a week. There's also, I found this one place called, it's the OC Deaf Community. I don't remember their website to be exact, but they were actually the ones that I got all this, it's on there. Yeah, the OC Deaf Community. That's where I got all my information from, and Atticus, that's a little more towards Anaheim. But yeah, these two groups, they offer consultation, meetings, and a bunch of more other free stuff that, without it, a lot of deaf people would actually be lost and probably wouldn't even be able to communicate with each other or even know what's going on with them. So the earless community history, the ALS community was actually first founded in 1814. They didn't know what it originally was. They just thought like they were like not smart people. They just thought they couldn't understand them. So it was originally thought to be that. That's where the first school. Yeah, the first school was for children, and it was actually built in Hartford, Connecticut, which is towards the East Coast. The ASL community contains a total of 200 to 300,000 words and signs. So it's not like the English community where it's like 26 alphabet. No, it's like a lot more. Because There's also different languages, there's also different ways to speak it. And from my research, there's also a certain way you have to speak it, like when speaking to like a young community, the youth, and when speaking to an elder, because it's kind of like in English, where if you speak in a certain way to an old person, they might find it rude, whereas if you speak to your community, like a group of us, it would be normal, you know? It's kind of like that. Long history and culture. They also had social clubs and activities. So by what I mean by that is they would like in the school they would have like sports. They would play like games, like board games, and surprisingly, like even without being able to hear, they were able to communicate really well. It was more of just like hand gestures, and even then they were able to like communicate pretty well. It was tough at first, but they got the hang of it and they were able to prosper. So these are just some of my references. Carol Patton, The History of Deaf Community and Culture, the deaf community in Los Angeles. This website I found to be very helpful. And actually that's the website that told me about the different kinds of deaf people, and I believe it is 1 in every 4th person is deaf in our community. So whenever like we're walking around like town or anything, that person that we see next to us could or could not be deaf. So as times have come, deaf people are more common now due to illnesses and different types of disease, and some people just have it in their genes, they'll inherit it, and the deaf community has actually grown a lot. So my conclusion today, I spoke about the subculture that exists amongst deaf. I went over their history, their community, how they prospered, and how much hope it lies in the community. Thank you.